colleagues to arrive. One of the issues that we definitely want to look at in the FAA bill, and something that came up in the conversation, maybe I could get a little bit of input on, is what is this staffing capacity issue? Does anybody have a number for it? Does anybody have a percentage of increase over what our current system is that we think that we need to be skilling and training for that would help us build the kind of capacity that we need? We can talk later about whether we think the model that, say, United or other people have, which is, I think, a little bit about overstaffing and thus being able to handle outages and systems better. But let's just get an idea of what people think are the issues for staffing right now that we need to do in upskilling for the workforce that we need.
So that I'm clear, Senator, are you talking about the FAA or the carriers?
I throw it all in. I care about an aviation system that works. The safety and security bill that we've worked on clearly identified the needs of the FAA. We feel like the FAA needs a lot more technical workforce to keep pace with the level of innovation. But I'm sure my members for both sides will show up and say that, their economies are constrained by lack of pilots. I have an airport in my state, Wenatchee, where people are telling them, well, we can only have one flight a day because we don't have enough pilots. We can't have rural economies basically be stranglehold because we don't have enough pilots. So we need to figure this out. So anybody who has a thought on where we need to go in building capacity that way. Okay, we'll go right down the line.
Thank you, Senator, for that question. We think that there are a number of things that could be used to take care of that problem. Right now, the airlines set their own requirements for reserve capacity, whether it's personnel or equipment. There are no minimum standards set by the government. So we think that there needs to be some minimum standard for that, because the way it is now, some airlines are actually operating on negative reserves. So in a perfect day, they cancel at least 1 to up to 3 or 4% of their flights. That saves them money. And as I indicated in my earlier testimony, we need to change the financial incentives from offering bad service that's profitable, and in this case, unreliability or unsafe, to service that is good for the system and good for the consumer. With regard to supply of pilots, we made a number of suggestions in June of last year. It's attached to my testimony. 2 of them were to authorize temporarily raising the age of mandatory retirement from 65 to 68 with good health. Second one was to offer temporary visas to foreign pilots that are already authorized by the FAA to fly to and from the United States, to fly temporarily within the United States. And the third proposal is to set a minimum wage for commercial airline pilots, because we've increased the hours up to 1,500 as a minimum, but in many cases, the starting pilots especially are at a very, very low wage, and that restricts supply, as do those other things.
Thank you. I see my colleagues have a right. I don't know whether Senator Blackburn is ready to go. She's ready.